Following your fat grafting procedure, let's talk about some of the things that you need to know. The major concerns that I think most people have is actually how full the face looks. They can't recognize themselves that first week, and it's so important to understand that it may be psychologically difficult for you to go through that period of time, but it's normal. That healing phase is normal. Hopefully some of the video diaries and other parts of the website will be helpful in you understanding what the psychology goes through during that week. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. The areas that I harvest from could be a little sore, could be a little twingy, but usually that's just for the first week. Sometimes it could last even a few weeks, but the face usually is not uncomfortable, just a bit swollen. Remember that 2 days after the procedure you will look much more swollen. To the point of being extremely distorting, and that's somewhere between the second or third day. Some people have it on the fourth day or the first day, but it will swell up more. I repeat that, it will swell up more. So do not be concerned. That occurs on almost any of my procedures, but more specifically fat grafting. You will swell up more 2 to 3 days afterwards, and do not be disconcerted with that. It is normal. The second thing that's important to understand is that when you smile, it's going to be very hard to smile. This is something that I can't prepare you for unless I tell you this. You're gonna feel like, how come I can't smile? That will come back in about 1 or 2 weeks because of the fullness in the cheek area. When you touch your cheeks or other parts of the face, particularly the cheeks, it'll feel very hard, and that hardness will dissipate over 1 or 2 weeks. So don't be worried when you feel your cheeks and it feels very, very hard. The other thing is important is that sometimes when I fill into this lower area, the line that's around the mouth could get a little bit deeper for the first 1 or 2 weeks. That's very, very important for you to understand as well. Remember what I said on the postoperative sheet, that sometimes one side could be more swollen than the other. That's normal. If you say, oh, is this more swollen this side? What's going on? It's all going to even out. I'm very, 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 very consistent in placing fat evenly on both sides, but you may see one side more swollen than the other. Don't panic, it's normal. And oftentimes when I go back and show you some of the preoperative photographs you already had some pre-existing asymmetries. And I always say that the two sides of the body are not the same and can never be made the same. That's a consent form you sign. So just to repeat that. Remember a few basic things is that you really should not be doing a lot of bending over or heavy weight lifting because it can lead to more swelling. You want to cut down your salt. You want to cut down some of the, a lot of extra fluids, a lot of things that could lead to more swelling in your face. Some ice packing will help during that week, and just rest up a little bit. Try not to do a lot of household busy work. I find some patients that want to go bend over and do some gardening or household chores are the ones that have a prolonged swelling. And those are the real basic ideas I want you to think about after a fat transfer so that you don't feel so disconcerted. And I would like you to try to watch this video a few times to repeat some of the salient points that I've just mentioned. I want to update my fat grafting postoperative video with some new thoughts, and as I progress I'll have new thoughts that come to me. One of which is sort of your expectations in the first few weeks following a procedure. Sometimes when I show you the photograph for 1 week, your initial feeling before I show you the photograph is, oh my God, I'm too swollen. After I show you the photograph, you say, well, I look pretty good. Maybe this is just going to go down, the swelling. I'm not going to look so good after the swelling goes down. And that's not the case. You're going to still look good. You come to me in a month, you go, I really love this, doctor. Is going to go down. You're going to have 1 or 2 feelings. If it's too swollen, just slightly, most people don't notice that, and that will come down further. But if you say, oh, it looks perfect, I hope it doesn't go down further, it really won't go down further. It will just start to shape and change. So I just want to set up expectations. You're going to feel one way or the other, slightly on the full side or slightly less. You're going to be okay either way. It's seriously, it's a normal progress in terms of the way you feel. All the really swelling goes down in about 2 to 3 months, and sometimes there's a slight dip at 2 to 3 months where you feel, oh my God, now it's a little less from what it is. I wish it was fuller. Did I lose everything? And no, you didn't lose everything. You still look fantastic, and I show you the before and afters. It's really quite stunning. You simply forget what you used to look like. But remember, what I tell you is that about 6 to 8 months, sometimes 8 to 12 months, there's that, you may go through that initial dip at 3 months, but then you start picking up at 6 months to a year where it looks better and better and better. And the worst case scenario, in about 5 or 10% of my patients, I need to do a little touch up, and that's an easy thing to do. We can do that at 6 months to a year if we need to, but it's a very small minority of my patients that need it, and when they need it, they just need a few drops here or there just to make it as perfect as I can. So I just want to establish those expectations and make you feel more comfortable, not only just the immediate postoperative period, but also beyond that time as you start to look at your results at about 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and a year and beyond. Okay, my staff reminded me of one more thing I've got to mention I think it's important for you to hear. Some of my patients ask me, they says, Dr. Lamb, what am I going to do? Am I going to move my fat if I sleep one way or if I rub it one way? The answer is no. When I put the fat in there, it's pretty much where I need it to be. And because I use microdroplet placement, you're not going to shift my fat. You may see more swelling on one side or the other, and if you sleep on one side, you see more than one, but you're going to be fine. It really, if you sleep on one side, sleep on the other side, I'm really not so concerned that you're going to mess up my fat. The fat is where it's going to be placed. It's going to be fine. The only thing I do ask is some common sense things. If you're going to do some facial with a lot of rubbing or massage where your face is down, I really would be careful with that, even for about a month after my procedure. But other than that, in terms of just sleeping on one side, sleeping flat, sleeping up, really don't be concerned about it. You're going to be okay with that. But I just want to reinforce that single concept to you in case that was one of your concerns or fears.